What's up, guys, and welcome back to Paint Bravely, the podcast where you can find a little bit of encouragement, discover new ways to make your hobby more fun, and most importantly, learn to paint bravely. Now, we got a pretty fun episode today. We got some hobby stuff to talk about, some rules stuff to talk about, all around good time. So let's get to it. Brent, what have you been up to since the last time we talked?
Pretty much the only thing I've been doing is painting Cabalite warriors for the Dark Eldar Drukhari faction of Warhammer 40k. That's it.
All right, thank you for joining us.
As always, we appreciate you.
We definitely do. Yeah, that's a lot of work, though. I mean, like the last couple of weeks just painting 60 dudes.
Pretty much, yeah. So I started doing this, essentially an Escalation league with my friends locally. And so there's 4 of us. There's actually 5 of us, but one's a wife who's like willing to play or willing to not to play. So 4 plus an extra, essentially. We've got a group of local folks. We're doing an Escalation league. And this is kind of like, hey, we haven't touched Warhammer 40k for a couple of years. Let's try to get back into it. And so 3 weeks ago, we had a 500-point game. And as I'm speaking to you now, tomorrow, like in like 12 hours, we have a 750-point game. And I have managed to paint a lot of warriors that were half assembled, half primed, half painted for the past 5 years. And so I pulled together all of my old test models, all of my, half assembled things, all my eBay stuff. And right now they're all the same color, at least. So that's pretty good.
That's a good start. So did you strip a bunch of them or did you just paint over everything?
Half and half. So,
okay.
Yeah. So actually, mostly I just painted over things, which is not my normal go-to. Like I definitely took some minis this time around that I could see had a 3D layer of paint on them, and just primed right over and kept on going. And I did have a few regrets about that. On a couple minis in particular, I'm like, the sharpness of those armor plates just isn't there anymore.
Right.
So yeah, the way we were doing this Escalation League, I decided for my first 500 points, 2 HQs, 2 Archon bosses, and then 3 10-man units of Cabalite warriors, which used to just be Dark Eldar warriors back in my day, but now they're Cabalite Drukhari warriors. So.
Yeah, that's a great name change. I
It is what it is. It is what it is. So the first game I needed to get 30 ready, and I didn't quite get them ready. Like I got them more than halfway there. I got them base coated, I got them shaded, but I didn't get a chance to fix the shading and do the highlighting yet. And I also didn't paint the heads yet. So for the first 500-point game, it was half-painted models, and I, as penance, I made myself put on with blue tack the old nasty heads. And so it looked really bad for the 500-point game. But we scheduled 3 weeks later, we're going to do a 750-point game. I'm like, okay, this time for sure, we're going to really nail down these Drukhari Cabalite warriors.
Yeah.
And to get those extra 250 points, I'm just going to make the 3 squads that I'm taking, instead of 10-man squads, are going to be 20-man squads. And a nice thing about Eldars is not just men. We got some ladies in there too. Mm-hmm. Not quite 50-50, but better than most armies in Warhammer 40k. So
pretty much most of them, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think almost all of them, yeah. Yeah, I think the Eldar are like that too. There's a lot of not quite 50-50, but it's up there.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I've just been working on 60 Dark Eldar warriors over here for the last couple of weeks. And again, they're still not quite done. But I did give myself all day today to make sure they had heads. And right now, all but 2 of them have heads. So.
That's not bad.
Yeah. So for the past 5 years, so this was a project that I started in one of my prior big boy jobs, like when I was really stressed out at work. So this was back when I used to teach chemistry at a university. So my days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I had to teach a lecture, like a big lecture of organic chemistry. So my day was like wake up at 6, spend 4 hours making sure I was ready for a lecture, spend an hour in front of 300 sophomores, and then I got to go back to my office, like lock the door, and then go on eBay and buy Capolite Warriors.
As you do, yeah.
It was definitely some using chopping to deal with stress. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
It was a rough semester, I got to tell you. But
I could just see that, just exactly. I could picture it so well in my head. Just you standing in front of a bunch of people, and then right after, just like stress eBaying. It's just like, oh yeah, $20 for 20. I'm buying that, like all day.
Yeah, well, it was more like comatose sitting in front of my computer, and
yeah.
Actually, I have clear memories of watching some of the older Tabletop Minions videos. As always, I made sure I had 2 monitors. So, like, one monitor was eBay, like buying Dark Eldar Warriors. The other was, Uncle Adam telling me how to set up a wet palette, telling me the secrets of Games Workshop's pricing model. All the classics.
Oh, the classics, yeah, the classic Tabletop Minions stuff. Man, I remember that stuff pretty good. Yeah. Wasn't teaching a 300 person class lecture or anything, but I do remember them.
we all experience different types of stress, but that was a situation where nominally, get done teaching at 11, have all day to be productive in different ways, but really it was just like be comatose for the next 2 to 3 hours, de-stressing. Right. And the net result of all of this is that I had a big pile of 5th edition Drukhari.
You had a lot. Yeah. And now, finally, some of them have been painted.
Right. Now I understand just saying it. So now these are sold in 10 Eldar squads, right? Now now a box is 10 of these guys. And I realized that just saying like, oh yeah, I got 60 of these together. We're just whipping through them. We're trying to, like, I understand people like, oh man, that's a lot of boxes there. How's this guy just so casual about how many of these things he has? Like, there are reasons for me having a lot of warriors, a lot of witches. Yeah. We got our raiders, even a couple of ravagers. Look, I've got the jet bikes. I've got plenty of Dark Eldars where those came from for reasons.
The point is that through a long history of working terrible jobs and having to do things that we didn't necessarily want to do for a long time, well, Brent and I have basically just spent most of our money on plastic soldiers to cope. And through many years of doing that, have ended up with a plethora of gray plastic lying around. And that's really the lesson here.
Yeah.
Is, find a better job.
Here we are.
Do what you want. Yeah. Do what you love to do. Find that.
So, yeah, I had a lot of minis in various stages of painting. I had some primed, some built by me, some built by other folks. And, yeah, so and of course, back then I was also doing a lot of test models. I was really into homemade washes back then, so a lot of things had been primed white, and then, various mixtures of Pledge floor cleaner and paint or ink or whatever.
Contrast before contrast.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. But very glossy. Very glossy.
Oh yeah.
Nice sheen
that
on
floor
those.
Cleaner. Protected though, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. You want your hardwood floors to shine, and Pledge gives you that. It gives you the shine. It gives you that citrus smell.
Yes. Now that we're just on the topic, I wonder if Pledge floor cleaner, it actually would protect your models. I mean, it seems like it would give you that gloss, but like, you haven't done the Monopoly test with Pledge, so I'm curious. Is all. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, last year I was at Walmart. I saw some Pledge floor cleaner on the shelf. I bought it again. I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
Because it's been a while since anybody's done a video on Pledge floor cleaner. And in the age of speed paint and contrast paint, maybe it's not necessary.
I mean, I see people, I guess the last thing I saw, maybe it was a couple of years ago now, but was for doing bases, like to get that like locked in shine. I don't know. There was something on a base. Yeah. So that could do it.
Okay.
I don't know.
We're going to return to these stupid capitalates a lot, but why don't we take a little break so that folks listening at home don't turn us off already. I
mean, it's pretty fascinating. I don't know.
Let's pace these capitalates a little bit here.
Yeah, since you only got 60 of them, that's fine.
What have you been up to, Casey?
I've been up and down a little bit this last couple weeks. Last couple days, yesterday in particular, I've been super sick. So trying to like get hobby done while I can. I swear the daycare system is going to be the death of me. I feel like I haven't been sick in years, and all of a sudden, like, it's just all these sick kids coming out of daycare, like ruining my life. So yeah. Trying to recover from that, but I was planning on painting an Inquisitor model, one of the old 54 millimeter giant pewter models from Games Workshop. And I kind of went down a little bit of a rabbit hole in doing that. Like I had been sent the model by someone, and I got him all cleaned up, I got him prepped, I got him going. And then I was like, well, I don't really know anything about this game. I don't know if you know anything about this game. I think you said you had the rule book.
I have the rule book. I flipped through it.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of very large metal characters on 40 millimeter bases that scare me, but that's all I know. That's all I know.
It's a good way to put it. Mm-hmm. It's weirdly intimidating. The size of the model compared to other 40K models. But in going down this rabbit hole, like doing some research, I found out that like this game only went for a few years. Like people were into it for a few years, like 20 years ago. And then it turned into this whole underground Inquisition 28 movement. And I don't know if you know anything about that. It's basically like a rehash of the game done in 28 millimeter.
I mean, I've heard about it, but I have no experience with it. I have more experience with full-scale 54 millimeter Inquisitor, I'll tell you what.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just thought it was kind of fascinating. Like, I didn't know that this whole underground world existed. Like, there are these other games built off of, like, dead specialist games that Games Workshop put out. And like I've seen kind of like other things. There's like the whole Turnip 28 thing that I'm not sure if it's like technically related, but it feels like it kind of is. I don't know what the hell. It's like, but it was in the same category. Like on Instagram, most of them were like had both the same hashtags, so it was really weird. It was like, oh, I'm doing both, but using these models that I'm doing. The Turnip thing, like I don't know what that's about. I just know there's spiky crap all over the models, which hey, I'm all for. But yeah, I don't know. It just brought me down a weird rabbit hole, and thought it was pretty fascinating. But trying to actually paint the model so far has been a little bit of a task, which I didn't think it would be. And it's not for the size so much. It's just really weird, like weird proportions. It doesn't make any sense. Like it makes sense at 28 millimeter, like the heroic scale, but you bump that up to 54, and all of a sudden everything's just a weird shape. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I know you painted an actual Space Marine, like a beaky Space Marine.
Yeah, so in one of my Craigslist deals, I did get a lot of Inquisitor 54, if you'll pardon me for saying so. And some of them were complete, some of them were not complete. And one of them was a Space Marine, but he was missing his hands and he was missing his head. So last year during Pride Month, I printed off a big beaky helmet for him. I printed off a couple of power fists, given like a finger guns kind of thing, and painted that up.
Put him on a tank.
Yeah. Some parts of that project went really well. Others not so much.
The only thing I actually remember from that was the overzealous use of spray glue.
Spray glue bravely.
Yeah. Like, absolutely ridiculous.
You can't let spray adhesive scare you. You know, if you want to glue like old dried flowers all over your Pride Parade tank, you got to stick it on there with something. Why not indiscriminately spray with Scotch spray adhesive?
Yeah, why not? It's a good point.
What's the worst that could happen? Oh,
I don't know, paint melting.
I think it may have partially dissolved some of the paint.
Sure.
But mostly it was just not very accurate, and I got glue which just looked bad on the actual model. But
Right, yeah.
Live and learn, you know?
Yeah. I've been working on that, which I'm still like halfway through. I'm making a video about it, which I think will be pretty fun. But I definitely think it's going to take a turn into like, look at all the weird crap I found on the internet and this model, you know, which that's fine. I guess it tends to happen. But yeah, I'm doing that. And then I painted up, 2 different Ragnar black mains, the old Space Wolf from like 2nd or 3rd edition.
That was a fun video.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. You had a really nice explanation of how to paint faces on there, and like the eye discussion of, okay, you got your eye orbit, make a black circle, put, or oval, whatever shape an eye is.
Whatever shape, you know.
Make your off-white eye white, and then put a black dot in there. Yeah. Yeah. Man.
It does work. A lot of people commenting on that video with their own particular way. So many different ways to paint eyes. It's insane. Like everybody has their own like little tricks, and I think the best one that I've heard that I haven't tried still is the 0.001 micron pen. I haven't tried that yet. That seems to be like the biggest hack for eyes.
I'll have to give that a shot. Because I do actually have those micron pens right now. They seem good for stuff. I'm trying to remember what I used them on.
Panel lining?
Yeah. I got them after maybe. I did my panel lining video, but yes, depending on the panel, yes. Actually, I think like they were
insides of Space Marine shoulder pads or something.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
There's a few spots on Space Marines where like the wash doesn't stick in the right corner, or the wash kind of has a mind of its own and wanders away a little bit. So that micron pen is actually pretty good for black lining on a few specific parts of Space Marines. The ridge on top of the helmet, like was also a pretty good place for those. It's all coming back to me now. Yeah.
Right. It's been a while. I think we might have talked about that a year and a half ago or so. It's been a while.
No, it wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Maybe we also talked about it a year and a half ago. We were just stuck in a terrible loop. Yeah.
That's probably true. Yeah. But that one of the Ragnars was the one that I did bring up in the last podcast that had the face. And that I thought was pretty interesting because I feel like I kind of proved my point a little bit. Like I actually did erase the face and I repainted it, and the model looks 10 times better. And like I did get some good feedback about that. A lot of people were just like, this makes a lot of sense. Like I look at my models and I've hated them for a long time, like the way that I painted them. But now I'm looking at certain pieces and going, okay, well, if I just do a little more work on this part, the rest isn't as bad as I'm thinking it is. And I felt like that was pretty freeing for a lot of people. That's kind of the vibe I was getting through the comments of, people revisiting things that they painted a long time ago or whatever the case is. And it's like, I'm not as terrible as I think I am.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing writers do with rough drafts and moving it towards a final draft is just to put the written piece in the drawer for a few months, a few years, come back to it, see what they think, and fresh eyes, fix up the parts that objectively could use a little bit of fixing up, and then and
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, in that video, you showed that you can paint right over things, or you can use a paint stripper in a localized area on a Mini to take the take things back to the fresh metal or fresh plastic, whichever the case is, and try again.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. It's a good feeling to, I don't know. It feels good. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you just painted a couple of things on that old Ragnar, and the person from the internet didn't do as terrible of a job as the price you got that mini for would have implied. Yeah.
That's very true. I think I still paid like $18 for him or something. Like, it wasn't super cheap.
Oh.
It's this one. I was like, I saw it and I had to buy it almost regardless of price, right? Like, I'm just gonna buy it. The rest of those models that I was talking about, though, I'm definitely gonna be using sooner than later. So, yeah. So, Kabalite Warriors, huh?
Back to it. All right. All right. So I had a big collection of mostly used stuff. So when I got back into Warhammer and minis in general, I saw the current store prices of Warhammer, and there was a good couple of years where I absolutely 100% refused to buy new Warhammer stuff. The difference in price between when I was in high school to 2015 or so was so much that I was like, it is insane to me that anyone would buy this new. Now, of course, the prices since then have gone up a good 30%, but
yeah.
At least.
At least. In some cases, yeah.
But now I do grudgingly occasionally buy something. But at the time, yeah, it's like, okay, eBay. I was a regular eBay miniature rescuer myself back then. And I was buying a lot of stuff on eBay. I was stripping a lot of it. I had figured out LA is totally awesome by then. Or actually, no, I was using the purple stuff because I was watching Tabletop Minions. Yeah, that's right. It's all coming back.
Purple power and all that. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, as I was getting back into painting, all this secondhand stuff, I had all these aborted attempts at paint schemes. I had a lot of test models of the old warriors, the new warriors, and now that it was time to actually get some stuff together to play some games with my friends are getting back into it, and so I had a good 50 Kabalite warriors that were built and primed and partially painted, and a lot of them, just sprayed right on over. I did find a scheme that I like. I'm doing bone armor. So I'm using the Army Painter bone triad. Just going right down the middle with the middle skeleton bone color. Getting them all base coated with that. And figured out a few nice accent colors on them. And then the real trick for them is just getting the shading and highlighting right for the bone armor panels, which is a lot, which is definitely a lot.
Yeah. I mean, painting bone in general is kind of a pain, and doing full armor. I mean, I remember back in the day with the Eldar, you get your the howling banshees. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, and they had that bone armor. And it was it's all white, and it's the sepia kind of shadows and everything. I remember seeing that box art and just being I'm never going to be able to paint that.
Right. So for the first 30, I took the bone and I varnished it with gloss varnish, with Liquitex high gloss varnish.
All right.
Right.
Yeah.
And then washed over everything with Strong Tone from Army Painter. And the high gloss varnish makes more of the wash go to the crevices than ordinarily would be the case. That's what I do with the first 30, but the Strong Tone still darkened down everything a lot. And
washing, it's pretty strong tone.
It is, but washing any light color, washing white or light bone color, it's going to darken it down a lot. Any wash that you put on kind of a white or off-white is dangerous. So, yeah. Then I spent many, many, many hours doing the stupid thing from the Games Workshop painting system of you paint it, you wash it, then you repaint it. then you repaint with skeleton bone, but don't cover up what you got in the crevices. So I haven't washed the second batch of 30 yet. I think I may do the opposite of that, of doing the targeted pin washing at the joints in the armor. But the way this armor is set up, it's not clear which of those is actually faster. So there's these guys. Yeah. So I really like these models. They have a lot of overlapping armor plates though, which makes this really cool, like segmented armor. And in terms of, there's just this repeating pattern of, there's the main bone color, there's the deep recess shadow, and then there's the highlight. And it's just that repeating pattern. For the squad that I finished that on, it looks really good. It looks sweet.
Nice.
And yeah, it's a tough question of whether you wash everything and then paint that base color back up, paint the highlights back up, or if you take a long time to get the pin washing where you want it, and then it's quicker to clean that up, highlight it from there. I'll let you know next time, maybe, which ended up being faster. I think it's going to be pretty similar both ways.
Have you thought about some kind of enamel or oil?
I know you like oils. That's not me. It's
okay.
It's got a nice look. I respect that you like that look, but it's just a little dirtier and grungier than I'm going for. I'm looking for clean and crisp.
I'll give you that. Yeah, the enamels and stuff definitely give you the dirty look.
Yeah,
the grim darkness, as it were. But even then, I think that I would say that like a thick oil, like one that wasn't really watered down or, spirited down, I don't know, I have to test that out, but I think it would probably give you a clean look. Because, I mean, if you wipe from the top down just to wipe that oil off, it'd be a pretty sharp line. I don't know.
Well, when you have Cabalite Warriors, you can put oil paints on them.
Well, I'm going to go buy some Cabalite Warriors. And I'm going to put some paint on them. I have some. I don't know what I'm talking about. I literally have some. I can just go get them.
So here's the funny part. So one of the nice things about this project is I was able to use up all of the assembled and nasty half-painted stuff. I stripped about a total of about 10 models and started over with them. The kind of terrible thing is I'm pretty sure I have another 50 just unbuilt in little plastic baggies.
Probably, yeah.
So the most pristine models I haven't touched. But
right, the ones that'll actually be perfect. Yeah. You haven't even touched them. I mean, look, like when it comes to building an army and stuff, like
it don't matter. Yeah,
it doesn't really matter.
It don't matter.
Like, and even more so, the Cabalite warriors of that army are literally going to be the first models to be killed and taken off the table. You're not going to be looking at them for that long. Like, maybe you'll get through turn 1. You're like, that looks pretty sweet. Turn 2, I lost 40 Cabalite warriors. Great.
Well, we can get to this too, but the actual experience of playing the game is not the highlight of Warhammer 40K. Like,
I mean, yes, that's pretty much true. I think the actual subset amount of people who enjoy just the gameplay is very small, like very, very small.
I don't know. I am curious. So I have a rant saved up. Maybe we'll preview just a little bit of this rant today, but I have a serious rant saved up about like some of the rule types that I've in my one game of 40K in the past like 3 years that's really annoying me. It's grinding my gears.
It's really grinding your gears.
Yeah. So for the 500 point game that I played, I just tried to remember, the core rules, the weapon profiles, the stat block for my units. For this game, I've gone through and I've read like a couple of pages of special rules, and some of them are really dumb. Like some of the rules that I'm now going to be taking to my game tomorrow morning are really dumb. So this has always been the way I feel, but the high point of Warhammer 40K is before the game starts. Is like deployment. Deployment is the best part of Warhammer 40K. When you get to see all your units on the table and all your opponent's units, unless they're keeping more than half of their units in reserve or something like that. In which case there is no high point of Warhammer 40K.
I mean, there's a lot of units that are just like, these guys are in the warp.
They're invisible.
And they will stay there. Yeah. They're invisible for 3 turns. Thank you.
They look cool, but you cannot see them.
Exactly. They're going to be here in the clouds until I say so.
It defeats the entire purpose of playing a miniature game.
A little bit. The tactical setup and flanking maneuvers and, whatever. It's fine. It's the future. I get it. Look, I am not a stranger to deep striking some def coptas, so, I like it.
You would, yeah.
Of course I would. I'd deep strike like 12 of those bad boys, yeah. Like turn 2 right behind you. But at least something like that, like def coptas or the airplanes or whatever, you got. At least I can understand how those are more like they're being tactically called in by the commander because they fly, right?
Right.
Like, which I think is kind of the idea, but it's when all of a sudden they're like, they're just magical, and therefore they will pop up 6 inches from you.
I don't mind all the explanations for deep striking, for units coming in on turn 2 or 3 or whatever. What I mind is not having them on the table. I want to see everything. You want to see it.
Yeah, you want to see it.
That's
for sure.
For me, the whole point of all of this is an excuse to paint a lot of cool minis, and then an excuse to show everything to your friends and maybe take a few pictures. Yeah, that's what it's all about for me. And any rule that means that you'll never see more than half of the figures at one time on the table, it's like, all right.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I get it from a rule standpoint and a whatever standpoint, but yes, I agree with you. Like, it would be way cooler to just be like, well, here's all the stuff at the beginning. Now can I roll to see if they're just gonna come over here or whatever? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the def copters. I think that would be copters are cool. They should be on the table the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah, last 40K game I played, def copters won me that game.
Congratulations, man! I don't think I said congratulations to you for that game, but I'm happy for you and your def copters.
A year and a half ago.
Better late than never. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Should I do it? Okay.
Yeah. No. I think we're all primed and ready.
Okay.
All right. Brent's gears have been ground, or they are going to be.
I present to you the worst rule and the worst type of rule in Warhammer 40K. This is an ability that's common to most of my units, and I read. Blade Artists. Every denizen of Camorra learns from a young age the value of blades, and all are adept in their usage, whether those wielded by their cruel hands or as part of their razor-edged armor. Okay, so it's a thematic rule. It's like, hey, you see all those spikes all over the armor? Those,
right, they're not just there for fun.
Right. Just in case you didn't understand that they had spikes all over their armor, well, let's put a special rule in. So here's Blade Artists. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack with a melee weapon on an unmodified wound roll of 6, improve the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1.
Okay. So when you roll a 6, you get AP -1.
Yes. Okay. So for those of you who don't play Warhammer, Your unit attacks one of Casey's units. You roll to hit. If you hit, you roll to wound. If you wound, you give that dice to Casey and have him do an armor save. So, and all of this is affected by the stat block of the unit and the stat block of the weapon. And so there's lots of ways to kind of fine tune that in the rules. And here's an extra way to fine tune that just in case you needed to. So in the ordinary, operation of a melee attack, I roll 2 pools of dice, 1 pool of dice to hit, 1 pool of dice to wound, and then for all the wounds, Casey rolls a 3rd pool of dice to maybe get some armor saves in there. Now, with Blade Artists, if in my first pool of dice I get some natural 6s, that then means that I have to subdivide the next 2 rules. So I for my wound rolls, I have a pool of dice for not 6s and a pool of dice for 6s. And then because what the 6s had done is improve my armor penetration, that means that Casey has to roll 2 pools of dice for wounds also. So this goes from, if a melee attack that involves 3 dice rolls now involves 5 dice rolls. And if I do out the math, according to my calculations, the net result of all this extra arbitration is that my melee attacks have an armor penetration of 0.25.
Right, overall.
This is madness. Okay, so this is annoying if you have this special ability because it's something that you need to remember and you need to remember to use.
A lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people do.
Basically, all my Cabalites have this, plus my archive.
Sure.
Every model in my army has Blade Artists. I mean, I see the spikes everywhere. I understand that. Okay, so that's a lot of extra work. That's a lot of brain power required for what could be a relatively simple attack. Now, the other side of this is it's also annoying for you, because here I am being like, roll these separately.
Yeah, exactly.
Or roll.
You roll.
Roll 5 saves. Now roll 2 more saves, but these are AP -1. Okay, so either Casey knows about Blade Artists and is like, I understand what's going on here, but it's just going to take me a little while longer to resolve this part of your turn. Or Casey doesn't know what I'm doing and it's just like, roll twice? What, there's more wounds coming at me? Okay, man, whatever you say. All right, cool.
Right, yeah.
If you say so. And, so this may develop into a full-blown rant because
by the time you hit the tipping point on your Escalation League, I think you're gonna find a lot more rules like this.
Oh, there are. No, I've definitely seen rules like that from my various opponents, and some of them get really into it, which is so sure. Clearly some people are enjoying this type of crunchiness and granularity, but it just seems like it's a lot of needless work, a lot of needless complexity that really doesn't add much. Like in terms of just saying, these guys have blades everywhere, they're better in melee. There are multiple stats in the core stat block that could be adjusted to convey that. And if you then think that, moving one of those stats by more than a quarter means that it's imbalanced somehow, like you can balance it with the point cost of the unit. Like there's a lot of ways to thematically convey this without so much extra work. And the reason this is bugging me is because in a typical situation, not only are the 6s doing something extra and annoying, I may be re-rolling 1s, and there may be a situation where I'm hitting on 2s instead of 3s, and man, I've got this whole rant like building up here, but just I'm imagining, just The game could be so straightforward of I hit you on a 3+ and then we continue. But with a typical unit, it is I hit you on a 3+, unless it's turn 2, in which case I hit you on a 2+. And also if my Archon is nearby, I'm re-rolling 1s. And also, the 6s do something special, so let me put those over here. And I mean, there's like 20 different armies in this game, and if you haven't recently read the special rules of the Dark Eldar, your opposing player isn't going to be engaged with all of that. They're just going to be watching you like fudge your dice roll. Like your to hit dice, like all of a sudden 3 of the faces of the dice don't do what you expect them to do. And they have like 3 or 4 special rules to be like, that's because of blade artists. That's power from pain, turn 3, because I'm a Cabal of the Black Heart, which makes it turn 2, and that's why the 2s hit. But also, and I reroll 1s too, and of all of those things, like if you were really involved, you could be like, one of those things I could have been able to affect, like the rerolling 1s I could have gotten rid of if I knew to kill the Archon. The rest of it is just needless, stupid complexity that slows down the game, takes your opponent out of the game. Like you're either engaging on all 4 of those special rules in the 2-hit roll of a basic melee unit in a basic melee attack. You're either engaging on all 4 of those special rules, or you are taking a big step back. You're shutting down mentally. You're being like, cool, man. Reroll those 1s. Yeah, go for it. And the 6s do something special? Yeah. Hey, if you say so, man. That sounds good for you. Good for you. Good for you. Your 2s hit? Your 2s hit too. All right. Fuck. Great. Why'd the 2s hit? Because it's turn 3? The 2s hit because it's turn 3. Dude, it's turn 2. But you're Cabal of the Black Heart? I guess it is turn 3. Like, so there's right now about 2% of the listeners know exactly what I'm talking about, and of those 50-50 are very angry at me right now.
I mean, look, like, regardless if you like the game and the minutia of the rules and everything, because there are some things that I do like about that. Like, it doesn't have to be so convoluted, right? It doesn't have to be so overly complicated. I mean, you look at like what happened when Age of Sigmar came out and the kind of division that it set in just the Warhammer community itself. It's like, well, that game is for babies. And it's like, you know what the other half of those people found out? Like, no, this is actually pretty great because I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Like, I can just play the game and it's like everything's written right here and there are a couple of things that affect these things and that's about it. Now, granted, they've gotten more complicated lately. They're on like third or fourth or I forget what edition now, but still it's a lot less convoluted.
Right.
So I totally get you. And this is the same thing that does pull me out of 40K. Like, I want to be there for it, but I can't. I can get like halfway and I'm just like, my Cabal of whatever, I'm just gonna not do that.
Right.
I'm just gonna use the stat blocks that are here. That thing is like clearly giving me a +1 because it's 6 inches away. Cool. I'll use that because that's literally, I can see it. I can and I can reason it.
Yeah.
But everything else, like being the way it is, I think it's too much.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be.
Right. So I just listed off like 4 special rules that somewhat increase the melee combat proficiency of Kabalite warriors. There's a stat block that conveys the quality of their melee combat experience. You can give them like an extra weapon skill. Like that's an option. Instead of those 4 like really annoying rules, you can just like bump up one of their stats. That's an option. Like all this.
I mean, you bump up stat, or you say, oh well, they have two weapons instead of 1. Well, this weapon hits on this, and this other weapon hits, and it's a little harder, giving you that 0.25 extra, right? If you roll well or whatever the case is. Like you can definitely move those numbers somewhere else. And I think weirdly, like behind the scenes, they are looking at it at the 0.25 level. They're going at it in quarter of points. They're saying, well, the the Space Marines are putting out 1.35, 1.5 wounds per however many guys. We gotta push those numbers a little. All right, so write those Cabalite warriors a little extra. Give them a something on a 6 or something. It's like they're trying to balance it, but that's also adding confusion into the whole thing where it's not necessary, because they don't want to change the base numbers for fear that, oh no, like it's going to make them way too strong if we give them like, -1 AP, or if we do something else, right?
Yeah, I understand that there's an element of granularity when you're working with D6s. Like, I get that.
Right.
I get that. It seems like there should be a lot of options around that, though. Increase their weapon skill by 1, but decrease leadership by 1, or increase weapon skill by 1, increase the point cost per model by 1 point, or something like that. There's ways around that. Give the sergeant of each squad access to slightly better weapons, or make their weapon options a little bit cheaper, or seems like there's a lot of options to convey the ideas that you want to convey without all this extra rolling. And so re-rolling ones, any rule that re-rolls ones annoys me, and some of them annoy me more than others.
Okay.
Any rule that has you do something special on a roll of a 6, some of them annoy me too. This is just getting grouchy. Like I said, I've played one game in the last 2 years, but already like, oh, this is bringing back memories, and this seems worse than normal. But also being on the other side of the table from somebody who's just got their nose in their rule book trying to adjudicate a 2-hit roll.
Right, for a basic unit.
Yeah.
I think that's really the gist anyways. This is a basic unit we're talking about.
Yeah,
this is the ground troops, your Cabalite warriors. Like, you have 60 of them on the table because they're the chaff. They're the normal guys. There's nothing actually special about them compared to any other unit in your army.
Right. But anyway, this whole project, it seems like it's going to just further entrench me in not actually liking the game very much, but enjoying painting models. I am reminded how much work goes into painting 60 minis. Like the amount of time I've spent to not finish these is pretty large in the past couple of weeks. And I was telling you that just today is when I put all the heads on. So back in the day, I was really planning on sub-assemblies back in the day. Like, in my collection, I had the arms pinned to corks. So, yeah.
What?
I was like, no, if they're holding their gun in front of their chest, how are you going to paint the chest? How are you going to paint the gut?
No.
So I had the legs glued to the torsos. I had the arms pinned to corks, and I had the heads pinned to corks. So I did put all the arms on. I'm not messing with that. I'm not sub-assembling arms holding guns. But I did decide to keep the heads off. So
that's fine.
Yeah,
like, as far as sub-assemblies go, like, dude, I get it. That makes perfect sense to me. Mm-hmm. Your head's not going to be the same color as the armor.
Right.
It's fine.
Right. In this case, they've got kind of the Under Armour like turtleneck thing going on. They've got their spandex that they've got on under the armor. Exactly. And so it's much more convenient to be able to paint that while the head is off. But yeah, so I've been spending weeks painting these minis, and it's just today that I started gluing heads on.
Right.
And a lot of these heads I started painting 5 years ago. And so it's actually a lot of fun because I've got some heads that are painted up like blue and purple, kind of drowish. I've got all various human flesh tones on there. And I've got a whole bunch of different like hair colors going on. And so I just took all of those and started gluing them down to my mostly done bodies. And yeah, it's fun. It's fun for things to suddenly become an actual model, for things to suddenly have personality. So I did these 30 of these have their helmets on, 30 of these have their helmets off. But especially for the helmets off, it's like, oh, wow, this is who this model is. They'd all been kind of samesies before they got their head on there. But yeah, I've got this lady has 2 ponytails and red hair and like purple skin, and oh yeah, of course she has the shredder. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Since I've got a really wide variety of heads, so these kits are good. You can intermix the Cabalites and the witches, and so really a wide variety of heads in there, plus many years of me sort of painting them, so a wide variety in how they're painted. And it's really neat to see them suddenly become characters. And now most of them are still painted really badly, like really basic, like maybe they have a wash on there, but they have a starting point, and from that starting point, it's almost like, okay, their character's been established. Now I need to make this stupid thing look good. And
right, just the finishing details, right? You gotta go back in.
That's a problem for future Brent, but yeah.
Isn't it? Isn't that always the thing, right?
Present Brent just needs to read up about Blade Artist and make himself some note cards before he goes into battle tomorrow morning. But
I mean, there are things to help you with that, Like what is it? Battle Scribe, I think. Oh, yeah. When you do your army, it prints everything out. It gives you those things, right? I think so.
It does.
Yeah. So there are things to help with that. Yeah. But again, I do agree with you though, for sure. I think it's a convoluted mess that doesn't need to be that way. But then again, that's why I pretty much just stick with like Age of Sigmar. So like I have 40k armies. I play sometimes, but when I want to drink some beer and have some snacks and not really care what happens and see my awesome painted minis out on the table with everybody else, like I'm gonna play some Age of Sigmar. That's what I'm gonna do.
I just want to roll some dice. That doesn't mean literally rolling more dice to arbitrate the same thing.
No, actually, what's funny is that there are a bunch of units in Age of Sigmar, and I'm sure they're in 40k too, but where if you roll a 6, instead of splitting off and doing that thing where now you have another pool of dice, they're just like, oh, it's an automatic wound. It's like a critical,
which is better.
Automatic wound. Yeah, because then you just go, okay, well, I rolled 10 dice. Now you have 3 wounds, and I'll roll the ones that pass the first check, and the rest will be you got to test for. Whatever.
It's a little more arbitration than just your 3 normal rolls, but it's still only 3 pools of dice. Still only 3 rolls.
Yeah, it's still the same amount of rolls. You're just already allocating wounds, so you don't have to think about it. I like that. I like that aspect to it, and it feels good when you get like the critical hit kind of thing. You roll a 6, especially when you get the dice with the 6 that has like the little skull on it or a little symbol or whatever. That because then it's just a feel good moment for when you're actually rolling the dice.
That's the one thing. That's the one thing these rules help me understand a little bit. They do cause me to understand why so many sets of dice have a stupid symbol as the 6.
Yeah.
Right. Because I mean, I like a regular old set of dice for the most part. That's just your 6 is 2 rows of 3s. It's a rectangle of dots.
It looks good, right? Yeah. To see those rows, like the train tracks lined up, and you're just like, oh,
how are you gonna make a symbol that looks better than that, better than those train tracks? Yeah.
I have a feeling though that's just been ingrained in us, like so much Yahtzee and Farkle growing up. It's like, oh, look at that 6, that's a good number. Yeah. It's like the 6 feels special, and then somebody had the idea of like, what if I made this 6 even more special?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I particularly appreciate dice with the 6 as a symbol, and even more so if you could make your own custom dice that have your own personal 6 on there. then you're really living. Now, for all the people who put it on the ones, I think you can burn in hell. That's what I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm with you there.
That we can all agree on. If you put the special symbol on the 1 on your dice, you can die. I can't handle you. I can't. Like, why? There is no actual reason for that unless you play Conquest.
Well, that's a whole other thing. We can have a rant about that when we actually start playing some Conquest.
Where all the dice are backwards. Contrary to years of wargaming. And only for the sake of being different. As much as I like it.
That's what it seemed like.
That's the only reason it's there for. But now I have to buy a whole separate set of dice? Like... I mean, obviously, only if the symbol is on the 6. But all my specialty dice do not now work for that game. And I think, strategic decision maybe. But, yeah. That's what grinds my gears, though.
There was one company that was doing the coupon of like, come to our booth at Gen Con a couple of years ago. Maybe they do this every year. But they're, come to our booth and get a free die. A lot of companies do stuff like that in the Gen Con vendor hall. And so I go, just making the rounds like, oh, I actually have the coupon for this place. Cool. I would like my free D6, please. And it has branding on the 1 and the 6.
Oh, come on. No. So it's like super useless.
Yeah. At this point, this is not a D6. This is garbage. Thank you for giving me garbage that I'll have to throw away. The least convenient business card that I've acquired. Yeah.
Wow. No, that's egregious. That's pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get it if you want to put it on the 6. And even in that case, if it's a promotional item, you're like, look, we don't expect you to use this in the game. You put it wherever you want.
That makes sense. If it's a promotional item, yeah.
Yeah, but you ruin the actual use of it by covering 2 sides of your 6-sided dice. Like, there's no coming back from that, because now there's an argument,
This is either good or bad. I can't remember. Hold on.
Exactly.
Still not really sure. Yeah.
You can't
start doing like right-hand rules to figure out where the 4 is supposed to be. Like,
yeah, exactly. You're looking to where the next number is and stuff. Yeah, that's not okay.
I don't actually know that rule. Yeah, I know that opposing faces add up to 7, but if you're looking at 90 degrees off of something, what is it supposed to be? If you're looking at the corner of a dice and you see like the 4 and the 1, can you place the 5? 5 and the 2.
Yeah, so like the 4 and the 1, the 5's on top. 1 and the 3, 1 and the 3 and the 6, something. No idea. I don't know.
I bet it's supposed to be standardized, but I bet it's not. I bet there are like cheap dice manufacturers where the right-hand rule of where the 4 compared to the 5 compared to the 6 is in a dice is not followed.
I mean, theoretically, like, it doesn't actually matter.
No.
Statistically speaking,
unless
there
two
are
of your
6 sides
have a branding mark on them.
That's the only time it ever matters. But like, statistically speaking, if you've ever rolled, I mean, look, there's 6 sides to the dice. You're gonna get one side. You can't get multiple sides. So it doesn't matter where the numbers are placed. I mean, maybe there's a standardized rule for dice, but like, it wouldn't matter if there was.
All right, we'll leave this topic aside. We've upset enough people.
I mean, maybe.
Right.
Like, if you're the kind of person who's into the deep number crunching, then like I don't have a problem with you. Like, I don't see why we would, but this is stuff that we certainly complain about. I don't know.
That's right. All right. Do you got any neutral updates for us, Casey?
A little bit neutral updates. So I bought into another Kickstarter.
Okay.
It's my 19th one. Scale 75 is doing a new Kickstarter, just launched, I think, yesterday as we're recording this, for paints, a bunch of paints. and they're good paints. They're the artist series, like in the tubes. So, you know, a little spendy, but like you get like 10 bottles in each tube. I swear it's at least that much paint. It might be more than that too. I have to look at the milliliters, but honestly, hands down, best paints I've ever used. So this one popped up, and I'm gonna buy more. So yeah, I don't know what it is about them. They just work really, really well, or they feel good at least. I don't know. They have like this creamy consistency, whatever that leveler is, or whatever they call it. They put into the fancy paints.
They got the good stuff in there. Nice.
Yeah, the good stuff. Yeah, that secret sauce. But I don't know, it feels good. It like waters down nicely, like it glazes well. I mean, Scale 75 is kind of known for that anyways, but especially because I bought like a Caucasian flesh tone set and a green skin flesh tone set. And like for doing faces and skin with those, it's like the smoothest, nicest transitions with like the least amount of effort. And that's just a good thing to have. Like I pull out the one paint set if I'm like, I'm painting one of these, like I'm painting a goblin face, I'm gonna get this paint set out. It's like that works.
There you go.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just I'm not even sure what, like I bought into their like low end one where you can add stuff in later kind of thing. I haven't even looked at their paint sets. I'm just gonna pick when it's over. It's already funded, so you know,
nice.
I'll look at some point.
Nice.
I think the low end for it's like $40 for like a paint set with all the stretch goals. So it could be worse. There's like 6 paints in each thing. Okay. But like I said, there's like 10 paints in each tube. So, you know. Nice. Yeah, so I did that. And then me and editor Matt went to a Mastodon concert last week. Yeah. That was a good time, man. I haven't been to a concert in a long time. Like a real long time.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah.
But it was good, though. Beers were $15 a piece, though.
What? Did you buy any?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
About one.
Okay.
Are you already there? Already doing the thing? Like, I will have one beer, sir. Thank you. Yeah. No, man.
Matt, you're buying your own. Yeah.
No, I bought Matt's beer.
Okay.
I did. He bought dinner. We went to Johnny Rockets.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, so I haven't been to a concert in a while. Also, Mastodon, which is a band that I've liked for a long time. I happened to get the t-shirt in the mail that I ordered a while back, like the same day as the concert. And fun fact, the drummer of Mastodon frequently watches my videos and has commented in the past. In fact, this last video he commented on too. And that is beyond incredible for me. I think that is the most amazing thing.
That is actually pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, like you have no idea. Like I don't know. Yeah, it's. I don't even know. It's insane. Like it feels weird, like out of body kind of thing. It's super weird. Yeah.
Can you put this in terms of like Henry Cavill for the people at home trying to understand what it's like to be noticed by a celebrity? Or
I mean, that's probably about the same level, honestly.
Yeah. For you.
I mean, obviously, for you. What, for me.
Yeah, for you.
For people who like music. Yeah. Like, yeah. Like, okay, maybe not Henry Cavill, but...
Definitely Joe Manganiello. Yeah.
Actually, you know what? that is actually probably way more accurate. Yeah, he is the Joe Manganiello of heavy music. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like a lot of people know who he is, and then people are like, I'm not sure. He was Superman? It's The Witcher. Oh, I have no idea what that is. Yeah.
He was in Magic Mike and Magic Mike 2.
Oh, yeah.
Man, if I could remember the subtitle of Magic Mike 2, I'd be so happy right now.
Not just more magical? I have no idea. Like, that's the obvious one.
Channing Tatum wasn't in Magic Mike 2, so Mike was not in Magic Mike 2. No,
so it's less magical than
one of those things. Yeah.
Magic.
It's hard to lose your lead actor. I don't know if I've told you before, but I think my favorite TV series of all time might be Spartacus Blood and Sand, which had to go on hiatus for a little while after Spartacus died of cancer.
Yeah, he died. Unfortunately.
The replacement Spartacus was not as good, but
oof.
Yeah.
But still, really good show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What's that on HBO?
Stars, so that makes it tricky to find. I don't know where it is right now.
Yeah.
I'm not subscribing to Stars Plus. Yeah.
Stars Plus.
Stars Go. Yeah.
Stars Extra. Thank you for giving us money. Yeah, that does make it hard. Not gonna find it. Although, I shouldn't say that. I did resubscribe to what's the one that has Star Trek? The
Paramount
Plus. Yeah.
CBS All Access.
I don't know. But yeah, so I did just recently re-up for that, and I'm catching up on all the Star Treks. Yeah. Although, I've been actually extremely surprised. The reason I did it is because there was a deal, because the new Star Trek Strange New Worlds, the Pike one, came out.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to lie, like, that is the best thing that's happened to Star Trek for a long time.
Yeah, they put the first episode out for free, and I watched that. I was like, wow, that's really good. But I can't go back to Paramount Plus right now because I left a really mean parting remark when I unsubscribed regarding Picard most recently. So... And that was like 2 weeks ago, season? So I cannot.
It was like 2 weeks ago. You're gonna re-up like, hi, sorry.
I'm sorry, you got me back. Yeah. Turns out if you make a good Star Trek show, people will watch and possibly pay. But no, I don't know if I've ever given Paramount Plus like a full month's of subscriptions fee because it's been so bad that they keep doing the free months. That I just go back 3 months and be like, wow, this new Star Trek is not good. And then for the most part, I think I do remember to unsubscribe. And so this time, not only did I remember to unsubscribe to like the $1 a month of Paramount Plus, but I also like wrote some mean things about like, if you have access to Patrick Stewart, why are you going to go and do this? Like why? How do you make a TV show with Patrick Stewart in it so bad? Like you
you're talking about Picard season 2 or just all of it?
All of it, but yeah, especially 2, I'd say. I didn't even stick around to watch like the last half of the season. I got out of there.
The last like episode and a half-ish, I thought wrapped it up better than most of the season went. Mm-hmm. I literally actually finished Picard season 2 not 6 hours ago. No joke.
Okay.
Yeah. So it could have been worse, but for the most part was really bad.
I would like to remind our listeners that I've spent 2 weeks painting Kabalite warriors, and this is my chance to decompress a little bit.
I do feel like that's happening right now, yeah. Like this episode is a lot of like, we're just going to let Brent out a bit. He's going to drink his iced tea, and we're going to talk about some things. And that's fine. That's fine. Every so often we need to, I don't know, get let out of the cage a bit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Gotta get out the house. Gotta play some 40K every few years. Just see what it's like. Reintroduce yourself to that.
I think that's true. And I would like to be on the record that I did enjoy the early, what's it called? Edition 8 of Warhammer 40K, when it's just the indexes, when there were no stupid special rules. It was just the stat blocks. When your command points were used to re-roll a Dark Lance shot, and that's it. Like,
right.
Yeah, which is still what I use my command points for.
Of course you do. Why wouldn't you?
I think it's going to be third game of this Escalation League that I see what else I can do with my command points. But until then, just re-rolling Dark Lance shots. That's what they're for. That's what they're there for. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. See, and I think a lot of people, just kind of bring it back around, but a lot of people when 8th edition came out were just like, Warhammer got stupid. This is like Age of Sigmar. And everyone else was like, sweet. Like, I can buy 40k models and have a good time.
I can look at I can look at the stat block of your enemy unit and understand what they do. Like, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And like you had your weapon options and some extra special rules and whatever, and that was it.
Which is plenty for customization and flavor to your army. Like,
yes.
The stat blocks and different weapon options add a ton of different flavor to every army, even though there's 20 of them. Like that, that's honestly plenty. And then just be like, oh, but for extra flavor on a 6?
What does your 6 do?
But for extra flavor, all of my units have an armor penetration in melee of 0.25, but we have to do a lot of extra work to make that happen.
Yeah. To like math out the 0.25, we have to roll an extra 30 dice. Like, that's how this works statistically on D6s.
If we're drinking, we will not remember to do this, but after the game, we will require a drink.
See, that's an interesting thought. The fact that like when you're actually enjoying yourself and you're having a few drinks, whatever you're doing, you're playing the game, you end up forgetting half of that stuff. You're like, oh man, I totally forgot the blah, 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 whatever. There's, whatever, man.
Right.
Whatever. It's all good.
I mean, like, I've heard some tournament players talk about like when they're designing the army, they will, part of their consideration is less things to remember. Like,
that's a good way to go.
Fewer different types of units, like less of a breadth of weapon options. Like if you're, especially if you need to play like 4 games in a day or whatever.
Oh my goodness.
There's a huge mental tax of like 6s, 3-ups to hit, except 1s are different, 2s are different, and 6s are different. But only if it's turn 3, only if my Archon is nearby. But 6s are always different because blade artists. Every denizen of Camorra learns from a young age the value of blades.
From a young age.
And all are adept in their usage, whether those wielded by their cruel hands or as part of their razor-edged armor. And on that note...
yeah, they could have just... You know what I would have appreciated? Like just mic drop out. Brent's done.
Screw you, screw you, screw you. You're cool. Screw you. I'm out.
Like, okay, what would have been cool instead of doing that, instead of adding another role, is if they just gave another weapon option called improvised weapons for Dark Eldar. And it would have been, oh man, Dark Eldar get down, they're going to rip off one of their spikes and stab you with it. So they get an extra weapon to do extra damage with that would make up that 0.25. And it would be super thematic. You could have busted models. You could have little spikes in their hands or whatever, and it would be a whole thing. It's like when you bring in the gameplay and the modeling, then you're doing good. Or you always play orcs in every edition because they always suck at shooting. They're always good with, stabby things. And pretty much you always lose. So that's the way to go.
It seems like the orcs rules are just, roll some more dice, which actually like add more dice to your pool, plus 1 attacks. A lot of their special rules seem to do that. Just
if you like rolling dice, if you want to roll like 40 dice in one go and do almost no damage with them, but still roll a lot of dice because it's fun. That's the army.
Yeah.
It's not that complicated, and you roll a lot of dice.
I can understand the appeal of that. Like that I can understand.
I like it. Yeah. And if you're in it for the fun of it, like, except the last like 6 months, Orc's been doing pretty good because they got the new codex, of course. And then they got like taken down and everybody's all mad about it. So there's lots of Orcs on eBay right now, by the way. Those like the newer ones that came out where they're riding on the big giant squigs and all this stuff. There's a bunch of them on eBay right now.
That's
like
why
a
you
lot
know
of people
about
just
this.
selling.
Okay.
They're selling them. Yeah. But I like orcs. I've always had them. They're a thing. So like if I'm going to play 40K, I'm probably going to be playing orcs, and I'm just going to be there to have a good time. That's me.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Casey, I gotta get some sleep here so that I can like take all of my Dark Eldar off of the game board tomorrow around turn 2 or so.
Turn 2, yeah. You never see. That's why they give them that extra. You gotta be hitting on 2s in like round 2 or 3 or whatever, because they're not gonna last that long. So they're like, well, that's how we get around that without adding. Anyways. Thank you again for joining us on another episode of Paint Bravely. If you enjoyed this podcast, please help us out by leaving us a review on iTunes, subscribing to the YouTube channel, and sharing this message with your hobby friends. And as always, we appreciate each and every one of you for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Talk to you next time.